Space was never truly silent. It was only waiting for us to understand it. For centuries, we believed the universe had a final rule. Nothing can travel faster than light. That was the wall, the ultimate speed limit, and humanity has never been very good at accepting limits. Tonight, 300 people sit inside a machine that should not exist. A ship designed not to move through space, but to move space itself. Outside the window, Earth glows softly in the dark. Blue, fragile, almost peaceful. Some passengers can't stop staring at it. Some close their eyes and whisper quiet goodbyes. And some pretend they are not afraid. On the bridge, the captain takes one steady breath.
Prepare for transit.
Prepare for warp. Deep inside the vessel, the antimatter reactor awakens. Matter meets antimatter, and in a flash without fire, mass becomes pure energy. The kind of energy stars are made of. That power feeds a chamber where particles are pushed to the edge of reality. They collide at near light speed. They shatter. And from that violence, something impossible is born. Exotic matter. We gave it that name because calling it impossible stopped making sense. This is not about breaking the speed of light. It's about bending the fabric of space itself, compressing the distance ahead, stretching the distance behind. The ship will not fly to Mars. It will carry a wave of distorted space around it, a bubble that reshapes the path between two worlds. Inside that bubble, time behaves normally. Hearts beat at the same rhythm. Clocks tick at the same pace as they do back on Earth. But outside, distance begins to collapse. The navigation system locks onto Mars. The warp coils begin to resonate. A low hum spreads through the structure of the ship, deep and steady, like a mechanical heartbeat. 300 passengers feel nothing unusual. No crushing acceleration, no violent thrust, only a strange stillness. And then the captain speaks one word. Engage.
We're almost through.
Space
Captain,
tightens in
readings
front
are
of the
spiking.
ship,
Compensating
expands
hold course.
behind it.
Compensating now.
Stars bend into streaks of light. The universe itself seems to ripple. 18 seconds later, the red glow of Mars fills the viewport. Not months, not weeks, 18 seconds. Humanity didn't outrun light. It simply convinced space to take a shortcut. The red surface of Mars grows larger with every passing second. But inside the ship, everything feels calm, almost too calm. A few passengers look at each other in disbelief. One of them quietly laughs. Another wipes away tears they didn't expect to fall. For generations, Mars was a distant dream. A red dot in the night sky. A symbol of how small we were. And now it hangs outside, the window like a destination you could almost reach out and touch. But the real miracle isn't Mars. It's what just happened between Earth and here. The ship never accelerated. It never broke the cosmic speed limit. Instead, it folded the path itself. The distance was shortened, reshaped, rewritten. Imagine standing on an airport walkway. You're not running, you're barely moving, yet the ground beneath you carries you forward. Now imagine that walkway can stretch and shrink reality itself. That is warp travel, a controlled distortion of space-time, a bubble surrounding the ship, isolating it from the normal rules outside. Inside the bubble, physics behaves politely. Outside, geometry bends. The warp coils adjust constantly, balancing invisible forces that would tear apart an unprotected vessel. Too much negative energy on one side and the bubble tilts. Too little and the corridor collapses. The engineers watch their monitors like surgeons in an operating room. Every fluctuation matters. Every decimal point carries weight. Because pushing space this way is delicate work. The navigation computer calculates billions of variables each second. The path must be clear. No stray asteroids. No massive gravitational fields. No unexpected distortions hiding in the dark. Warping too close to a planet would disrupt its surrounding space, so the ship exits at a safe distance, 35 minutes away from Mars using conventional thrust. The hum begins to fade as the warp field slowly collapses. The stars outside snap back into their natural positions. The universe looks normal again, almost innocent. The passengers feel a subtle shift as the ship transitions to fusion engines. A gentle vibration replaces the deep resonance of the warp coils. In less than a minute, they have traveled farther than entire civilizations once believed possible. And this is only the beginning.
Status report. Trajectory to
If
planet.
18 seconds can carry humanity to Mars, what could a day of warp travel accomplish? At moderate warp speeds, the outer planets become short stops. Saturn in half a minute. The edge of the solar system in under an hour. Push further and nearby star systems become reachable in days instead of lifetimes. Proxima Centauri, once over 4 light years away, could be crossed in less than 2 weeks at higher warp levels. But every increase in warp demands more energy, more precision, more risk. No one truly knows what happens if the bubble is pushed beyond its stable threshold. There are rumors in the fleet. Stories whispered between long-haul crews. A ship that deactivated warp and found the stars. Wrong. Constellations shifted. Decades passed outside while only weeks passed inside. Another vessel reported parts of its hull aging at different rates, as if time itself had been unevenly stretched across its surface. And once, during a Warp 9 test flight, a ship simply vanished. Sensors recorded a brief spike in energy, then nothing. Some theorize the field collapsed inward, forming a microscopic singularity, a tiny black hole born from miscalculated ambition. Warp travel opened the galaxy, but it also reminded us that space is not empty. It is powerful, complex, and unforgiving. Years after the first Mars jump, warp ships no longer felt like miracles. They felt like tools, powerful, necessary, dangerous. Exploration fleets began reaching beyond the comfort of the solar system, past the orbit of Pluto, past the frozen silence of the Oort cloud, into interstellar dark. A 1-hour warp jump could place a ship outside the sun's influence entirely. The boundary between home and elsewhere started to blur. Within 12 days, a warp vessel could reach Proxima Centauri b, a planet once unreachable within a human lifetime. Now it was a scheduled destination. White dwarf stars became research stations. Nebulae became laboratories. The Helix Nebula, once a distant cosmic photograph, turned into a pilgrimage site for scientists and dreamers. But the most ambitious missions aimed somewhere far more dangerous. Black holes. The nearest known black hole, Gaia BH1, lies over 1,000 light years away. Before warp, that distance was meaningless. After warp, it became a 3.5-year expedition at higher warp levels. Still dangerous. Still vast, but no longer impossible. Approaching a black hole requires precision beyond imagination. Its gravity bends not just space, but time itself. Even a warp bubble must respect that curvature. Ships never exit warp too close. The event horizon is not a line you cross by accident. It is the last boundary of return. Some crews describe the sight as terrifyingly beautiful, a sphere of darkness surrounded by a glowing ring of twisted light. Stars behind it stretched into arcs like molten glass. Time behaves strangely near such objects. Clocks on distant planets tick differently. Light takes longer to escape. Even silence feels heavier. Warp navigation systems compensate constantly, reshaping the bubble to avoid gravitational shear. One wrong calculation and the field could destabilize. There have been losses. One vessel emerged from warp reporting only 25 days of travel, but signals from Earth revealed that 32 years had passed outside. The crew had not aged. The universe around them had. Another ship transmitted fragmented logs before disappearing near a dark region with no visible star. Only later did astronomers suspect an undetected micro-black hole drifting silently through space. Warp travel changed humanity's reach, but it also revealed how little we truly understand about the fabric we are bending. And somewhere beyond mapped space, teams of physicists are already working on the next step. Not warp bubbles, wormholes. Artificial bridges through space-time itself. Mars fills the sky like a second sunrise. Red deserts stretch beneath thin clouds of dust. Lights from the colony shimmer faintly along the horizon. For the passengers, this is more than a destination. It is proof. Proof that humanity refused to stay small. The ship begins its final descent using conventional engines. No warp distortions now. No bending of reality. Just controlled thrust and careful navigation. The colony control tower welcomes them home. Home. A word that once belonged only to Earth. As the landing gear locks into position and the engines power down, silence settles inside the cabin. Not fear, not tension. Reverence. A child presses her hand against the window and whispers, "We're really here." Outside, colonists gather to watch the arrival. Engineers, farmers, scientists. People who once left Earth with nothing but courage and a blueprint. The hatch slowly opens.
This is it.
Martian air processors hum in the distance. The sky above is thinner, softer, unfamiliar. The captain steps forward first, boots touching the red surface with deliberate care. History doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in the sound of boots on foreign soil. Behind the celebration, beyond the thin Martian horizon, the stars remain unchanged, silent, vast, waiting. Warp travel was never the end of the journey. It was the beginning. Because once you learn how to bend space, you start asking bigger questions. What else can be reshaped? Distance was only the first barrier. Time may be the next. Somewhere in deep space, scientists are experimenting with controlled singularities, with engineered gravity wells, with the fragile mathematics of wormholes, bridges that would not compress space, but connect it. If warp made the galaxy smaller, wormholes could make it intimate. But that is a story still unfolding. For now, 300 passengers step onto a new world, carrying with them the oldest human instinct of all, to explore, to build, to hope. Above them, the stars shine with ancient light, and for the first time in history, they do not feel unreachable.